Twist of Fate Wednesday the 2nd of March 2022 full update. Make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates. Without wasting your time, let's start our today update. Gautam comes to Pragya's office and recalls his father giving him papers telling what is written in it, that Pragya is naming her India's business property on his name. He thinks how to take Pragya's sign. Pian comes there and asks, "Shall I bring coffee?" Gautam says okay. He gets his father's call, who informs him that he has informed his elder son Gaurav about what is happening in Delhi office. Gautam asks, "Why did you tell him?" His father says, "I have seen how you was yesterday," and tells that we are facing a big problem and can lose everything and you can't handle a girl. Gautam says Pragya is very smart and her mind works like. His father asks him to give him a chance to praise him and says, "I called Gaurav here to handle the business." Gautam says, "You can't do this, you knows well that buyer is very short-tempered." Gaurav is shown getting down from the car. A watchman asks other watchman, "Who is he?" Watchman says Gaurav comes rarely and punishes the employees severely. Gautam says, "I will handle, no need of buyer here." His father says, "I can't help it now." The employees see him and get back to work. Pallavi comes to the room, searching the file. Vikram calls her. Pallavi sees his condition deteriorating and asks what happened. He says he is feeling uneasy. Pallavi asks, "Where is your medicines and prescription?" She says, "I don't know when to give what medicine." She calls Dida there and asks, "Where is prescription?" Dida says, "You have asked me to give prescription to Rhea, it is with her." Pallavi asks servant to call Rhea. Dida asks her not to get hyper. Rhea hears Pallavi shouting her name. Servant comes there and asks Rhea to come, as Pallavi is calling her. Prachi is in kitchen and goes. Gaurav comes to the cabin and asks Gautam how is he. Gautam hugs him. Gaurav says, "Dad told that you are useless now and can't handle the business, told how the girl is taking over the business." Gautam says, "You are talking about small things," and says, "Let me handle this." Gaurav says, "You have failed," and asks him to accept. Gautam says, "I didn't fail," and tells that I took Pragya to farmhouse, but then the mechanic Abhi came there and beaten me. I fell unconscious. Gaurav says, "This is your problem, you never took the small people seriously." Gautam says that guy has become Pragya's bodyguard and even threatened me. Gaurav says, "I will handle him," and tells that he will execute his plan. Pragya knocks on the cabin and comes inside. She tells Gautam that she needs to sign the papers. Gaurav says, "I am Gaurav, his brother," and tells that he will handle the work now, as his brother will be unavailable now. He says, "You will get the file in 5 minutes. Pragya says, "I don't care whoever do the work, but work shall be done." He asks if I can drink coffee in your cabin, when the peon brings coffee. He says, "I know that you have everything, except time." Gautam shows Abhi to Gaurav and tells that until he is with Pragya, he won't let us succeed. Gaurav looks at him. He asks, "Where are those papers, in which we will take her signs and get her everything on our name?" and asks where are the papers, which Pragya was asking. Gautam gives both files. Gaurav says plan is small, but result is big. Abhi knocks on Pragya's cabin door and says, "I had gone to your home, but came to know that you left for office." Pragya says she likes to do work on time and came before time to office. He says sorry for coming late. He says, "I shouldn't have scolded you." Pragya says it is all right, sorry is not needed. Abhi says, "I am not saying you sorry," and tells that he scolded her and says, "I hope you realize that you could have died," tells that scolding was justified. He says, "I am outside, tell me if you need anything." He goes from there. Pragya says, "I am boss and shall not hear." Pallavi asks Rhea about Vikram's prescription and tells that she wants it right now. She tells that nurse told that she will come late and asked us to give medicine. Pragya tries to tell, but Pallavi shouts at her and asks her not to talk until and unless I ask. She asks Rhea to bring the prescription. Prachi says she can help. Pallavi says she don't need her help. Rhea comes to her room and thinks, "Where did I keep the prescription?" She thinks she had kept it near window and searches for it. She thinks if it had flied and fallen out. Pallavi shouts calling Rhea. Prachi goes to Vikram's room. Gaurav scolds Pian for the accidental fall of water. Waiter says sorry. Gaurav is about to hit him, but Abby holds his hand and says, I saw that it was your mistake. He asks, do you know who am I? Abby says, your ego is showing that you are a spoilt son of a rich father. He tells Pian that he will fire him and tells Abby that he will fire him too. Abby tells that his boss is Pragya and you are her partner of 45% and I just take her orders. Gaurav asks him not to think him as a hero after beating his brother. Abby says, I saw both of you, I don't need to be hero as Pragya is alone enough for you, and tells that when she comes to know about your reality then see what she will do. Gaurav says this office will be mine soon and tells that when this office command comes in my hand, then you will go from here first. Abby says according to the contract, you have to bear me for a month and give me 3 months salary. Gaurav says he made the draft of the contract and tells that if he don't do the work on time then he will be out in 1 minute, says your countdown begins Mr. Bodyguard. He goes and calls Gautam, asking him to do something. Gautam says okay. He calls receptionist to send Pian to his cabin. He then asks Pian to do something and shows him Abby. Abby sees him and smiles. Gautam asks Pian if he understood. Pian says yes. Gautam asks him to open top floor room of office. He then messages Gaurav that work is done. Gaurav says Abby will do something if he comes to know about our plan. Pian Harish asking Abby to keep all the files in the storeroom, which is in basement. He says Gautam sir told that you see Pragya madam's work. Abby takes the files to keep them in the storeroom. Pragya tells Gaurav that she is not sure about the papers. Once she gets it checked by lawyer, she will sign on it. Gaurav says you are doubting on your business partner. Pragya says she had problem with the papers which Gautam gave her. He takes out something and adds in her coffee, when she turns to get some file. She says you are our business partner and you are 45% owner of the company shareholder, tells that they are partners and not relatives. He asks her to tell directly. Pragya says I am telling you directly, but you are not understanding. She takes the coffee and drinks, tells that they are here to do business and not to be relatives. She says someone told me that I shall check the papers before signing. He says only a close family member can say this. Pragya says she will sign it later. He goes. Rhea tells Pallavi that window was open and the prescription flied out of it due to wind. Pallavi gets angry on her and says you have lost an important papers, you had said that you will keep it safely. Dida asks Pallavi to calm down. Pallavi says she can't calm down until Vikram's condition gets stable and asks her not to ask her to calm down. She says I don't understand what is happening. Rhea says I will call doctor and will ask him to forward the prescription, and I will forward to everyone. She makes a video call to doctor. Pallavi asks her to keep call him and don't end the call. Rhea says it is busy. Prachi comes there and tells that dad is fine, he is stressed as he tried to walk thrice. She says his BP, sugar and temple are all okay, I have checked. Pallavi says who asked you to be doctor and says he is unwell as his first dose was not given. Prachi says I had given him the first dose on time. Dida says why didn't you tell us? Prachi says I tried to say, but mummy was angry. Pallavi says I was angry as you are so stupid and gave him medicines without asking us. She says I knew you are educated, but doesn't look like, you are educated illiterate. Prachi looks on. Pallavi says you have shown illiterate behavior and gave medicine to Vikram without asking anyone and that's why his condition is deteriorating. Dida asks Pallavi to see at least that she has given medicine. Pallavi says she tried to impress everyone and gave wrong medicine to Vikram. She says you want to show that you are so careful and says even nurse didn't give medicine without checking the medicine. She says even I didn't know what medicines to give, I just know the time. She says you didn't think anything and just gave him medicine. She asks Dida not to talk in between and asks her if she wants to give keys to such girl. She tells that Vikram is unwell, due to her. She asks Rhea to call doctor. Rhea says battery was low and phone got off. Servant brings another phone. Rhea calls doctor and keeps the phone on the table. Prachi says I didn't mix the medicine, I was aware what medicine to give at what time. She says nurse was late so I gave the medicine at 9 a.m., 9:10, 9:15 and then 9:30. Pallavi asks which medicine to give at what time, how do you know? Prachi says when he got heart attack, I had gone to meet him. She tells that doctor was instructing nurse so I heard. She says first medicine is a pink color medicine, which is a blood thinner, and then have to give 2 tablets at 9:10, which is light blue and off-white color, to control the sugar levels and BP. She says third dose shall be given at 9:15, and the tablet shall be given half, which makes the heart muscles strong and the small brown tablet so that he don't faint. Doctor says wonderful, all the medicines are given at right time with right sequence, which even nurse can't give. Dida asks did you heard us doctor? Doctor says yes. He says she remembered with its color and remember the time and sequence. Pallavi asks if Vikram is fine. Doctor says yes and tells that he is fine, as medicine is given to him. Dida says he is unwell, as he walked much. Doctor says he shall not walk much. Rhea asks doctor to forward the sequence and time of the medicine. Doctor says I will forward. Pallavi comes to Vikram and asks if he wants to give her heart attack. She says you went for walk thrice and says I want your recovery. Vikram says he is fine. Pallavi wipes his tears. Prachi tells Dida that she tried to tell but Pallavi calls Prachi. Dida asks Prachi not to feel bad of Pallavi's sayings. She says the same things to Rhea. Prachi comes to Vikram's room. Pallavi asks her to give him medicine which shall be taken after 15 minutes gap. Prachi gives him medicine. Vikram takes it and thanks her. Prachi says sorry for not telling her that she had already given the first dose, says sorry. Pallavi keeps hand on her head and says whatever you did was right, I was wrong and shouldn't have said all that. She says I didn't give you a chance to speak. I didn't ask you to do anything, but you have fulfilled your responsibility, you remembered about the prescription, and Vikram is fine due to you. She says I called you illiterate, but you are understanding and responsible, says God bless you. Rhea looks on. Pallavi tells Rhea that she is forgiving her as she is younger and asks her to learn from elders. She says Prachi has fulfilled the responsibility which I didn't give to Prachi, and you couldn't fulfill the responsibility which I gave to you. She asks her to learn from Prachi, how to take care of elders and responsibility. Rhea gets upset. Dida smiles seeing Prachi and scolds Vikram for walking excessively. Vikram says I will not walk. Prachi thinks if my papa keeps hand on my head then I will think that I got everything from life. Abby comes to the storeroom and thinks where is the switch. Harish goes out and locks the door. Abby knocks on the door asking Harish to open the door. Harish recalls Gautam asking him to lock Abby in the storeroom and giving him money to do his work. Harish says nobody comes to basement. Abby knocks on the door. Gaurav comes there. Abby recalls Harish standing with Gautam. Prachi comes to room and talks to Ranbir's pic, telling him about mummy. She then calls him. Ranbir on video call. Ranbir tells that he was waiting for VC, but her call came. Prachi asks him to listen. She tells that mummy asked me to give medicine to dad. Ranbir says if you are happy to work then I will make you do work daily. Prachi says then mummy blessed me. Ranbir is surprised. Rhea comes to her room and recalls Pallavi scolding her and asking her to learn responsibility from Prachi. She goes to the mirror. Prachi says she kept hand on my head and blessed me, tells that she got all the happiness. She says she wanted to stay with his family, and her dream came true. She says she felt blessed by God today and says people says right that a mother is God's avatar. Ranbir says everyone will love you. Prachi says mummy is good, not me. She says she blessed me today. Ranbir says everyone will become your fan seeing your goodness and tells that she has changed since I went out of home. Prachi says do you really think that she will accept me? Ranbir says yes. Rhea thinks of Dida asking Prachi to win the keys and Pallavi asking her to learn from Prachi. Rhea says why you are doing the same thing with me. Prachi tells that she was lost at once, and tells that God made us Baras, so that we can stay together happily. Ranbir says VC is about to come, I will talk to you. He greets VC. Prachi thinks she will not lose the chance to make everything fine. Rhea thinks she won't let Prachi do the same thing with her. Thanks for watching till the end. Make sure you subscribe and click on the notification bell to get notified for more updates. Like, comment and share.
To change your